Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman, members of the board, my name is Michael Wright, and I speak in favor of the Utah Compact, the so-called Utah Compact. I've been a lifelong citizen of Mesa. As I grew up, there were many community leaders from whom I learned the values that are reflected in this proposition. Some of the names you won't remember. People like Burt Brown, Charlie Deaton, Al Brooks, Wayne Conroy, John Kerr, my own doctor, Chuck Waldheim, Iser Tiptraining, Pete Guerrero, and other civic and business leaders, names of those who have led us in years past and laid a foundation for our community heritage. One of the speakers spoke about change. Yes, there has been change in Mesa. There is a lot of rhetoric that I didn't hear when I was growing up. I learned the values that are reflected in this Utah Compact from religious leaders too, who, like my father, Harold Wright, organized the ecumenical council called the Mesa Community Concerns that promoted goodwill and respect for all. Dad and his colleagues helped bring to Mesa the YMCA, the Salvation Army, the United Way, and other service groups that have instilled a strong tradition of service in our city. And of course, I remember the Demons who founded the Sunshine Acres Boys Ranch, who were great examples of tolerance and love for all people. The values that I've learned, not only in the home, but from observing the respect and grace of community leaders, lead me to support this ordinance. It's not just a Utah Compact. It is an expression of the finest of Mesa's community values. I cannot imagine that the leaders that I've looked up to as a youth would oppose it. When I think of the conflict in our state regarding immigration, I can't help but think of my grandpa Wright, who was an immigrant himself from Mexico as a young boy, and who came to Mesa almost 80 years ago. His father had been killed by Apache Indians in an ambush. He was brought across the border by relatives. He became a law enforcement officer during Arizona's early years. As state cattle inspector, he chased around horse thieves and cattle thieves and patrolled the border country and knew that criminals came in all races. If anyone would likely be prejudiced against minorities, you would think he would be. Yet he had a great love for the Latino community. He spoke Spanish and served 6 missions for his church to Spanish-speaking peoples. It's ironic that my grandpa, a tough deputy sheriff born and raised in an era of segregation between Anglos and Hispanics, would be an example to me of respect for the civil rights of minorities in his day. He was a part of Arizona's rich history of Hispanic influence. This influence goes back to the 17th century when Father Kino established missions here. Mexican culture has been a part of Arizona culture and Mesa culture, just as the Italian culture is a part of New York and the Irish culture a part of Boston. The great American experiment that we call the rule of law requires a balance between enforcement of law and respect for human rights. Thank you.
Thank you.